All right. Hey, everybody. Hi. How you doing? What's going on, guys? Hello. What's up, chat room? I don't know if how smooth this is, or how it looks, or how it sounds, or any of that stuff right now. I am at my at Zero Wonderland, which I don't think a lot of you are familiar with. This is the rehearsal space that my band uses and has used for a long time, and it's in the butt knuckle of downtown LA. It is behind a big row of train tracks, right between a one of the largest pork slaughterhouses in Southern California and a food processing plant that makes, by and large, Mrs. Fields cookies, which I have to say, between the two of those smells colliding, does quite the assault on your senses when you're coming to and from rehearsal on the regular. That's all I'm going to say. It is it is exactly the kind of like slightly pleasant mix that you would expect exactly from that. I'm not kidding. It is literally cookies and slaughterhouse, and it is yeah. And the volume of the smell is just nutty. There's also a bunch of what I would say questionable chemical plants and stuff like that on the downside of oink. Thanks, very sweet, Leslie. There you go. Let me see if these work. As stuff's coming in. But I'm testing to see um, if I could do the show from here. Because sometimes they need to use the studio, the garage of the house in LA. We've got like six bands rehearsing in there, and everybody would rather rehearse there, even though it's smaller because it's closer. Whereas this is what I would call the theatrical space. This is my low rent punk version of Paisley Park, if that makes sense for me. And for a long time, it became relatively unusable um, for two reasons. One, getting everybody down here. I'm the only one who uses it for the most part now, and I use it for rehearsing for the jam. So if I need to come in and sing my throat out, and learn a song and that kind of stuff, and I'm very sort of private in that process, and I can't do it at the house because I scare the cats in summer, and again, I'm always jockeying for space in the garage workout space. Yes, bands are overhoused. They absolutely are. So I come down here and do that. That's what I mainly use it for. But the internet here used to be ass. It was beyond terrible. Like I couldn't even update the software for one of my old computers that I have here. I'm on my laptop right now, but I have an old Mac Mini that we used for tracking some stuff. And if I wanted to update the software on it, I would have to take that Mac Mini home with me, run the updates on my home Wi-Fi, and bring it back. That's how bad it was. And now this is the Wi-Fi. They have updated the system here. They have entered the I guess the 90s in speed and the like. And I don't know how consistent it was going to be because I did a few speed tests that made it look possible for me to do a stream from here. But uh, what's the least I could? It was inconclusive. Upload or download super fast. Most internet is download super fast because that's what most people use it for. They're very passive. They download software or they watch movies and streaming shit. Uploading is the creator's highway, ladies and gentlemen, and I give a rat's ass most of the time about download speeds, with the exception of like I need to show you guys a video, and if it really was terrible, if I had great upload but no download, I would like rip the videos that I need to do offline and show them to you, like have them on a hard drive or something, get them from someplace else and just transfer them over, right? Good old fashioned sneaker net, as long as I had the upload speed. Um, and so it's not the greatest upload speed. It is about probably a fifth of what the download speed is, but it seems doable. And so I'm checking in with you guys about the smoothness. I did not, John G, I did not upgrade the dial up. The the studio here, like they have internet because you rent a space, you're paying for this space, and my space isn't that big. It's probably about 12 feet, 15 feet by 15 feet. It's one of the bigger units here. We've had it for a long time as a band. I've had it forever, and I love the space, but it became next to unusable because you start relying on being able to update your software and all that stuff to keep up with things. And there's so many things, security updates and all this stuff, that it was just painful. And now it looks all right, which means to me that this little Mac Mini that's here is ancient. It's a 2012. It will make a great doorstop. But I do have a slightly less old one at the house that I use for stuff. So I'm going to move that guy here. And then when I come in for the jam and stuff, I might actually be able to do my show regularly. What a nutty idea. Because oftentimes, one of the windows that I have to do it, besides the fact that usually during my Tuesday timing, the jam, like we have sound check for the jam. Besides that, the, like there's usually somebody rehearsing, like either Ched or Tig or Bumper or their projects or somebody they're recording or doing it, doing stuff there is in there, and it's a very small space. So even if they're just like mixing stuff or working on things, there's no elbow room. So uh, I love space too. I find nebula interesting. Yes, to imagine being floating in that. I know the new Mac Minis are $700. I'm very aware. They're stunning. Like that thing is it ventures well into the Rob Glenn rule. So, but even then, I have an old M1 that is totally fine for what I would need to do here. It has, I could put Ecamm on it just like this laptop. It's actually, that M1 is newer than this laptop, so it should be fine. Yeah, so this is a system test just to see if the internet can handle it. The rest of it is just whether the Tig Notaro, no, Tig Moore. He's my drummer in 01. And he was in Bow Wow Wow, and he's played in a bunch of stuff. He's just a fantastic fucking guy. Love Tig. Super sweet. I'll introduce you guys at some point as I drag these folks down here and start rehearsing again for a project seismograph. But that's in the process as well. That's partly why I came down here to like sort of rejuvenate the space, as it were. You could probably see. Should we do a little show and tell while I'm testing? Because I need to see if, and the show's obviously, tonight's show is going to be much later because I'm still in LA, so I've still got a 4-hour drive ahead of me. I will be doing a regular show later on tonight, but because this was working and it seemed to be showing, I figured I'd jump on with you guys and share this with you. And shall I show you a little bit of the space? I mean, I can't, like, well, I guess I could walk you around, but if I unplug it, it'll be a pain in the ass. But I have right here a used piano controller that I got very cheaply. That was a 88 key weighted controller somebody was getting rid of, and I was like, that's perfect. So there you go. And then I have a couple of guitars here that have some history to them that I'll show you real quick. A lot of the guitars I have here are junk guitars. They're like cheap pedestrian $200 guitars or whatever that I either I bought because I like the body, and then I put my own pickups in them and I do that kind of stuff. So I'll show you real quick. This one's actually great. This is a great playable guitar. This is a fairly inexpensive. It's a EC401 from ESP. These are their cheap, like kind of near entry level ones, but it was so pretty. And the guitar I like, many people know, is the EC500, which is the sort of lower middle class guitar. They're usually about $300 to $500, which is, entry level guitar player pricing, and they fit my fingers perfectly because my hands are, I got big palms and big knuckles, but my fingers aren't particularly long, and so the neck, just whatever reason, on the 500s worked really well, and then they stopped making them like assholes, and they put out the EC401, which was the poor man's 500 in my estimation, but this one in particular felt really good and worked fine, so I swapped the pickups out on it and put EMG 8185s in there, which are what Zach Wild uses. Prince used the 85s in the bridge position, and he usually did a single coil here, but if you ever see a Prince guitar which has dual humbuckers and a single coil in the middle, he did 8185. So Prince basically used the same pickups that Zach Wild uses, which I find awesome. So, anyways, it's pretty simple, but it's very pretty and it plays very well. Now, here, you want to see something funny though? This is one of my novelty guitars. So, um, and this one, I have to go way over. Probably see in the background this red guy right here. This is an Ibanez. I don't know what the actual model is. The Ibanez shitbox. It's literally like a boat oar level of wood. Like it looks cool and the grain is nice and all that stuff. But it's quite frankly, it's on by most guitar players' standards, it's a piece of shit. It's got bad pickups in it, and the wiring was terrible. I replaced the wiring in here, opened up this little sucker right here, and put better stuff in it. I'm not showing you the top of it for a particular reason. But I bought it in Thailand when I was visiting, when I was over there, and I was with Chris Bono, and I saw this thing in a shop, and it was so cheap. It was like, I don't know, maybe I want to say $25 US or something like that, because it was just whatever. Yeah, it's got good bones. It absolutely does. Um, and it's one of those things where like it's a flavor guitar. If you're recording something and you're like, I'm trying to find a sound, and you pick this up and you're like, oh shit, right? It's a Kid Rock model. He doesn't play an instrument. But the best thing about it, and the thing that makes it the most personal and why it's like a meaningful guitar to me, is um see that right there? I bought this is a metal plate. See that right there? I bought that metal plate and I stuck it on there, and that says pull in Thai. When you go on a door, like and it says push or pull for a door. I found this in a store, and it was just like a pull. It's just an Ibanez, but and I don't even know if it's a real Ibanez. Quite frankly, it's like there's no real markings on it. Usually you'll see on the back they'll have like a serial number or a little thing right here. There's nothing. It's fucking whatever. There's not even a markings on the truss rod neck bolt. Like nothing. This is you're like, I mean, this was sawed out of balsa wood or something. I gotta say, it's not terrible as a playing guitar. It's actually fine. It's just any real guitar player will go ugh and hand it to you, but it is an Ibanez. It's technically, I mean, it says so, so it's got to be true. And the um the like it's definitely like whatever their entry level was. But anyways, I I got this in Thailand and I put the word pull on it because sex, because I was being very hair metal, and I think a guitar that says pull on it is very funny. So there you go. Do you have a Channel Pop Blue? No, but I do have a blue. I do have a blue guitar that I love very much, and it's been here in LA because I played it last at the jam, and I'm taking it home to change the strings on it. Hal, I have no interest. Okay, well that's fine. How's the G string? It's a little loose, I got to tell you. Yes, it's very naughty. That was the point. So you have one of these like, you know, see what I mean? It says pull. I mean, like, all right. Is it a childish, infantile response to authority? Yes. Is it kind of funny though? Absolutely. So fuck off. But anyway, so that's the pull guitar. We like that very much. So I'll put this back. This guy over here, and then the only other real like special guitar that I have here is probably the longest. It's the oldest bass guitar I have. It's the bass guitar I've had the longest, and it's this guy right here. I've had this since basically high school. It's a Yamaha, and see this guy? It's also red. I should probably get a pull sticker for it too. This is a Yamaha. Again, very pedestrian um, guitar as far as like the quality of the pickups and stuff. But I mean, it's a bass, so whatever. But um, it's fretless. Right? So, and the reason I got a fretless bass for recording, because I'm not really a bass player, but when I'm recording, I track all my own bass stuff on my demos and the like. And I'm a huge Blue Murder fan. You know, John Sykes, who just passed away. You might have heard about that in the news. He was the guitar player that gave us effectively all the cool licks and solos on the big Whitesnake record everybody knows. You know, with Still of the Night and Here I Go Again. That's John Sykes. And the high singing on that album, the background singing that sing like that would be like the Michael Anthony of Van Halen high singing. That's John Sykes too. Dude was amazing, and he was in a band called Blue Murder and Tony Franklin, the bass player in that, played fretless bass, and so I got all fixated on fretless bass when I was in high school, and so that's why I have that one. I don't think it's not in tune really. Yeah, but it's yeah, that kind of thing. So it's actually it is as bases go overall. It's great. It's perfectly fine. It sounds lovely, and a lot of it has to do with what you put it through. So I have a tendency to fall in love with orphan guitars, stuff that like real guitar players are like that's shit. But I personally believe, and this is one of my more superstitious and spiritual beliefs, that every instrument has 12 songs in it. You just have to coax it out of it. So you don't need like the perfect guitar because there's no such thing because your body will change and your fingers will change and your skill will change. But each one, as you meet it halfway, will introduce you to different ways to play it, and it will feel different in your hands, and it will probably inspire you to play different things than you normally would. So, anyways, that's this just a Yamaha POS fretless, but I've had it forever, and I want to say it was like $225 when I bought it in Chicago in '87, something like that. Yeah, yeah, how easy. They all have a soul. Like I think instruments have soul in them. Um, and so three chords in the truth. I'll give you. I would say five chords, and an honest sense of delusion will do you just as well. Yeah. And then all my stuff is. Hold on. I don't know if they'll be able to tilt this over here. I don't know how this like respond. We'll just pretend this is another test. You know what I mean? There you go. So there's some play. So everything works. I don't even know if that's too loud or how the mic would even hear that. So um, you couldn't hear anything? Oh, did it cut off because it was too loud? I think it overloaded. Was that a volume thing? That's so weird. But I was playing so amazing. It was testing you. Couldn't hear that at all. I'll look and see. Hold on. Maybe it muted it because it was here. I'll see if it. And so weird. Check, check, check. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I figured it out. Hold on. It's my laptop is on voice isolation, so it's taking out the background mic mode. Yeah, there we go. Standard. How about wide spec? Let's put on wide spectrum. Might not sound as great when I'm talking right now, but hang on. So there you go. Now you can hear that, I think, right? So, I think that came through, right? You could hear that? Okay, excellent. So, and I don't know if, did you turn off? What did you do? Did I turn you off by accident? What happened? My little power thing went in and out or something. Weird. Okay. My keyboard decided to go away for a minute. I'll figure that out later. It's not important. But yeah. No Stairway. I cannot play. They won't allow me to play Stairway in here. It's like a no Stairway rule. Well, cowbell. Oh, thanks. You know, my lead skills aren't too bad. You know, I'm always around such amazing players, so I never really whip it out, as it were, because, I mean, these guys are in a total different plateau. But I was once told by David Lee Roth, and this is a direct quote from David Lee Roth, who said to me, "You're a better guitar player than you think you are." True story. Original Mountain Man was original and had a handful of covers. Awesome. Thanks, Mountain Man. Will do. There we go. It's always bothered me that Wayne wasn't playing Stairway when he was warned not to play Stairway. Yeah, he started the doo doo doo, and that was enough. And part of that was, I think, legal. I think that's why. I don't think they could get away with it. Thanks, Stargal. Well, I am a really good guitar player, but I am surrounded on all sides by amazing guitar players, and so it's all relative. So I love David Lee Roth as well, and he was always very sweet to me across the board. Let me see, what else can I do, you guys, like a show and tell? So this seems to be working, so that's a really good sign. So I will set this up so that I can do the show from here when I'm in LA, because it's actually closer than the house when I'm driving into town. So if I'm pinched for time, it's easier to go like here. And then there's something kind of awesome about, like, for example, a week from Friday, I will be back here for the Flapper show. And if I come in, you know, Thursday night, stay out at the house and then come out here, I could do the morning show, do a lot of work that I need to do around here to build the place up and get it back in working order, and then do my afternoon show, and then drive into Burbank to do the stand-up show that night. It'd be great. It was Joy. It was an absolute real compliment. But like, I mean, it's extraordinary just to think that Dave, I get to speak to David Lee Roth, and he knows who I am in my life, and then on top of that, he says that, yeah, I agree. But and there's the 01 drum kit over here. It's a it's a sort of a specialty kit. It's a DW kit, and it's got triggers, a D drum kit, and it's got triggers built into those drums already. What gauge strings? So, because I have 3 screws in that finger, see that funky finger? I broke that finger years ago, and because I have 3 strings in it, and it is 3 screws in it rather, I have it's my bending finger, and like that's where you do. If you're a guitar player, that's what you're doing your power chords with, and that's where you're doing most of your supported bending with your pinky kind of pushing up against that. Well, because this finger it closes really well, but it doesn't close all the way because of the screws. It already is up a little bit. So to keep from over bending, for a long time I used super heavy strings. And then as my skills got better, I was able to bring them down a little bit. But I can't use anything lighter than 10s, or I will over fret and put stuff out of key. I will fret out of key because as my fingers, like it just snaps to more than the other fingers. It's just hard to explain. So when I do a chord, for example, the G or the B string, if I'm using this finger on it, will be pressed too hard, and it will go sharp. So if I'm using 9s, and so I use 10s and higher to deal with my physical abnormality. Nice, EO. And if I'm playing rhythm especially and singing, heavier gauge strings give me a little more jangle freedom to play without worrying about going out of tune. Get that finger tape stuff for support? Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't need the support is the thing. Like most people do, my fingers already, yes, I'm cybernetic, yeah. It already has more of a push through. Does that make sense? So I have to be sort of careful about that. And when my hand's all moving like it does, if you just do this with your hand, all your fingers will all basically, if you're just doing like this, hit at the same time. You're not going to vary between those. So if you're going to a chord, this one will beat everything else to it, and when these squeeze hard enough, it will push a little further. It's hard to, that's the best I can explain it, if that makes sense. So it will just, if all the muscles in my hand are just pushing my fingers down on the chord, this one will be pushing slightly harder. And because it's on usually lighter strings, it will bend them sharp. So there you go. What else can I show you here that I have that's kind of cool? Let's see. I've got a PVP bass over here. There's my Art Blue DST 830, which needs some serious work. And what else? Yeah. And I've got a big whiteboard right here for writing lyrics and stuff on. That I use when I'm practicing songs. So yeah. Now, this will make me, it's 2 o'clock, so obviously I'm going to be late for the show tonight, so I will see you guys later on. I hope this was informative and interesting. It certainly was helpful to me in knowing that I can do the show from here and really build something, up here as far as doing the show. Because if the internet didn't suck ass, this would work really well as a podcasting studio as well, because I have a big open space in the middle of the floor that we use for staging that I have to keep clear, and I want to keep clear, and so it would be pretty easy to set up something fairly, yeah, it's my man cave, that's right. So, yeah. Aw, thanks, Robert. That's so sweet. Uh, um, uh, I've been using 10s for close to 40 years. Any smaller, I break even the heavy strings because I really dig in with my rhythm style. Me too. I like the flick away of it. I can even break strings with my picking style because I love that Zakk Wylde, pinch harmonic. And so, for those that don't know, this is going to be boring to everybody except me and Robert. But when you hear like somebody do what's called pinch harmonics, when they're playing with their pick, most people are like playing with their pick like a ukulele, doodle-doo, or however they hold it, and everybody's got a different style. But when they're holding it like this, you're basically just hitting the strings with the tip of that, and that just makes them vibrate, and that's fine, right? If your finger brushes up against it, it creates a secondary tone that makes the string ring in that higher tone. And so you can do these little squawks, like on that Still of the Night riff I was doing, where it turns into a way higher note but it's the same lower key. And I'll show you in 1 second. But the way you do that is as you brush the string with your pick, you roll your thumb over so that the string touches the pick and then lightly grazes your thumb to create that effect. So it sounds a little something like this. So instead of like hear that difference? That's regular picking. And then this, if you slightly graze your thumb, you'll notice Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top does this all the time. He does that kind of like instead of it's right. So okay, so that's the cool thing. So I've always loved that playing. That kind of playing, like I said, a lot of blues players like Billy Gibbons do that on the higher notes. A lot of the John Sykes does that on like Still of the Night. A bunch of those songs, he's got a really light one. In Zakk Wylde's is like the biggest one ever, right? His woo noise that he makes, and that's because he has a booster that he kicks on when he does the big ones. And then they've created, over time, like an EQ that picks up whenever he does one of those in a certain key. It just boosts the shit out of it. Yeah, Randy Rose did it a lot. A lot of great players have done that over the years, and I just love it. So I show us your fingertips. I mean, they're a little lumpy. You can see, there you go. You can see the kind of callus tip right there on that guy. So anyways, that's where that comes from. Yeah. Yes, there's infinite harmonics in every guitar string. And you can have several notes. There's like 3 in there if you really listen to it. And that's what gives the music accidental depth in some ways. That sounds made up. What does? Which part? The pinch harmonics? Thank you, Eric. Let's see. I've been on leads so hard and with vibrato that the bridge cuts hard into the strings, and I flat pick hard. I learned that squeal technique at 16. So yeah, that's one of the first things I picked up too. So anyways, before Robert and I bore the living shit out of everyone else with guitar talk, there is the booster thingy. Oh yeah, no. If you look at the Zakk Wylde, shit, it's not here. It's in he's got his own pedal, and they basically, when they're designing his pedal, they boost for those sonic frequencies, so that when you have it on as a booster, it will pick up, because they're all in that range. They're in the, low, like this low C tuning that he does. You can dial that in. Yes, half wah is another way to do it. It's effectively the same kind of thing Bryce, is where you if you took a wah pedal and you moved it to the point where it has that like it makes it like a bell tone noise coming through there, then you'd hold it there, you just leave it. You can EQ for that window sonically, and then you put that in your pedal. You make a little circuit board that when the audio goes in this way and it goes out that way, it passes through an EQ that punches that particular range, and it gives it that boost without making all the tones sound that way. Next sweet picking in arpeggios, not from this guy. Yeah, the half pedal wah thing, he uses that all the time because it helps you cut through everything else. It also narrows the sonic band that you're in, so that you're playing with the rest of the band, and if you were starting to solo, they wouldn't really hear it because you'd be in the same. There's only so much bandwidth the brain and the ears can take in, and something has to come forward. It's one of the reasons why all traditional string instruments are twangy, is because sonically they have to break out. If you're going to hear them without a PA, that's why banjo became crucial and the lead instrument in a lot of ways in bluegrass, or fiddle, because it can go higher tones. And so they'll be thinner and they'll push through. So sometimes when you're playing a rhythm guitar, a lot of people use a boost pedal to narrow the sonic range of the guitar sound so that it gets ahead of it. Brian May has a Brian May's like entire guitar setup is that boost, is that single thing. Johnny Million will be the first to tell you that he was emulating Brian May's tone when we were in high school, and it drove me fucking crazy because it was so tinny and pinchy, and I was like, just use it when you're soloing, but the rest of the time, can you give me a little Tom Scholes? It's gotta sit in the bed. Look, this turned into a real kind of show for just testing stuff. All right, I got to get on the road. It's 2 o'clock. I'm not going to be home till at least 6 or 7 at this rate. So wish me luck, and I will jump on later on. And I thank you guys for indulging me and playing with me a little bit. And now that I know, and this is just using, I have a little like hotspot I use when I'm in a hotel and the internet is ass. But the walls here are solid concrete. That's why it's a great rehearsal space, but nobody can really hear you. I don't hear rumble through the walls even when people are playing their ass off. Like you go out you open the door to your room and then suddenly you can hear everyone. It's wild how loud everyone is, but you can't hear them. It's not good for Wi-Fi, and it's even especially 5G because it's terrible passing through things. So thank God this actually works on their internet as it stands. Again, I had to, like the upload, I couldn't tell from the reads I was getting whether it would be, whether it would work or not. But now let me unplug from here, since I'm going to run, and I'll give you the walk around of the space. There's the whiteboard I was telling you about. There's my that ESP case right there holds a. I had to get it for a Jackson Flying V that I have. It's the Jenna Jameson Flying V. There's only a couple of them, and yours truly has one of them. It's as saucy as you might think. We have a little mini fridge. And then I brought some stage lights over because it's so goddamn dark in here. And Tig, bless his heart, Tig, you have speakers here. Your speakers are here. They're right near the door. It's very hard to get in and out sometimes. Tig, love you. And then the bigger cabinets and that kind of stuff. And then what else? Yeah, the drum kit's over here. The hardware isn't here because everybody brings their own hardware when they're coming in or whatever. And a lot of our stage stuff. And this is, you want to see one of my favorite guitars before I go? Hold on one second. This guy. This is my Epiphone duct tape guitar. This guitar plays really well, but it got all fucked up. Like it was like, it's a very nice, like high-end one, but somebody was selling it on eBay for like $50 because it was all just like chipped and scratched and fucked up. But it's such a great guitar. I was like, that's a shame. So I literally bought it and then just covered it in duct tape. Because that's cool. Doesn't affect the sound at all. That's one of my stage guitars. You wouldn't track with it, but it sounds perfectly great on stage. And again, you salvage an instrument. Thought it was aluminum initially. No, it's definitely not aluminum. Yeah, it's just a straight up duct tape guitar. And that was my idea, my way of fixing that guitar. I'm like, I'm not going to let this guitar die just because it's all scratched up. Who cares? So I was like, do I get it refinished? I didn't have the money at the time while I was, playing in my band to like fix that shit. And I was like, ugh, like trying to get it, anybody to give it a good look over because there were gouges in it and shit. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to just do it. I'll do it myself. And what else? That's it. And then we got our mannequins that we bring on stage for 01. And I don't know where the street lights came from. I honestly don't. I think we found them on the railroad tracks out here. And they work. They actually light up. So at some point they were going to be like stage gear. And we were going to, have them on stage and trigger them somehow. I'll get there. But for the time being. And what else? I have a little laser printer for doing stuff. And a bunch of dead keyboard controllers because they all eventually take a shit. And yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys later. Thank you guys, like I said, for indulging me and helping me work through some of these tech things. And I will see you at some point later today. We hope. I think. Hold on, I should probably play a song on the way out. Yeah, that'll work. All right, I'll see you guys in about 5 hours.